going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC reality check. This is the state of wrestling, and that is Jake fucking DeMarco. What's going on, buddy?
Holy hell, my friend. We're in the super fast build to SummerSlam. You jump on that roller coaster of the summer and hang on tight because we're rushing towards that finish line.
We're not going to do it tonight. There is a conversation that's growing online as to, like, is this SummerSlam potentially better than WrestleMania? Saving that for another episode, but I think it's a good positive indicator of SummerSlam that people are having that conversation.
See, and I also see the opposite too. Like Cage Side Seats put out a very interesting article today calling it Sour Slam. And
Oh, no.
I can't blame them for having a negative look on it because the card itself is very, very good. But for the most part, most of the builds just don't feel like they matter. And the matches will be great.
You know, the thing is, and we're going to talk about the last like 5 pay-per-views just flown by, but people said the same thing about Evolution, and until I went through the card and I was like, okay, this is a story that has existed since this time. This is the story from last year. This is a story that started at WrestleMania. Like, I don't think that kind of the opposite, other than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a separate scenario, but I don't think there's too many matches on the SummerSlam card that are absolute 5 minutes in the microwave and here's your match.
Yeah.
Like, we've got matches that spurn from Money in the Bank. We've got matches that spurn from King and Queen of the Ring. We've got matches that have spurned from longer than that. Like the Intercontinental situation spawns ultimately from WrestleMania and what was supposed to be a tag team title scenario. So I don't think the build is short. The spaces between shows are short.
Yeah,
and people,
the presentation
I think people
of the
are
build, maybe the way that they build the whole package.
Misconstruing because, and this is my take. I see what people are saying from the other side, but I think people are thinking, oh, we just had a pay-per-view last weekend and there's another one next weekend. That must mean the pay-per-view only had 2 weeks of build. And it's like, no, you had 2 weeks of break between shows, which can be exhausting.
2 weeks of putting the card together. Typically, you might already have some ready-made feuds and whatnot, but the issue is, all right, so Punk wins the one-off random gauntlet match. The next week, him and Gunther are face-to-face. The week after, we get one more, and then they're off to the races. Excuse me. Granted, you don't need much to get them together, but it doesn't feel like the all-time classic it could or should be. It just, I know Seth's injury looming above really kind of haunts that whole scenario, but even
the thing
still,
is, like, you can't hop, skip, and jump over the pay-per-views either. Like, if they put out all the stories that exist now for SummerSlam that have started like month, maybe 2 months ago, if they were giving you SummerSlam match cards back then, people would be thinking, like, subconsciously, like, maybe not even actively, but like, oh, if SummerSlam's where we're going, why would I bother with Evolution? Why would I bother with, Great American Bash? Why would I? So there is a reason to, like, here's all the stories, here's the match, here's the match, here's the match.
Yeah.
It's kind of why I don't like the way that they did the Evolution Women's Battle Royal being a title match in Paris, because it's like, okay, so we are building up to like the biggest SummerSlam ever.
Yeah.
And the winner of this very important all-female pay-per-view battle royal gets a title shot after that. So, like, I think the fact that they don't do that a lot of the time, they don't do the leapfrogging over, like, take a look at what's in front of you, not what's down the road. I think there is a good reason for that and a good justification for that. If that leads to the feeling that everything's a bit jumpy from show to show to show, I can see people's criticism, but I also think there's a good reason for it. I'm excited for it across the board. We're getting into like multi-person matches territory. I would love to see a show in the near future that, other than tag team title matches, is just one-on-one matches. Because I think WWE's leaning on multi-person matches a lot, which is a fair criticism. But other than that, I think the show looks stacked. We're gonna put more thought into it on another day and maybe do a side-by-side closer to the actual show. But I'm stoked for it. I'm not gonna lie. We're coming off the back of like 5 different shows, like I said, that we're gonna talk about in a second. But I told you there's gonna be 2 topics that we touch on that are a little bit more on the serious side before we get into holy fuck, we just watched a lot of wrestling. If I were to say to you, what do the former Cora Jade, the former Eddie Thorpe, and CM Punk have in common?
What's that?
All three of them this week have come out and been very outspoken in various platforms about issues concerning mental health.
Exactly.
And I think that's kind of awesome. I think there's three different scenarios to talk about here. All of them with various different entry points. All of them, obviously, we're discussing from a point of, hey, end of the day, we hope everybody's doing all right.
Yeah.
Right. The Elena Black one, Elena Black, formerly Cora Jade, whatever, came to my attention. As I said to you off air, through Destiny Wrestling, because she was supposed to be performing on a show that I was going to, or that I am going to. It was going to be her and Giselle Shaw fighting over the MLP Women's Championship, and she has taken a step away for her own mental health. Emilio from Destiny put out a big long post about, hey, we're trying to find a replacement for Giselle Shaw and a match for our pay-per-view. Elena Black is stepping away from wrestling to deal with her mental health. Emilio went on to say, like, having dealt with my own stuff recently and all that sort of thing, Destiny's behind her 100%. I hope we can get her another day. Roddy Raw.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Elena Black has come under a lot of scrutiny for, like, obviously she made a lot of comments when she left WWE about, how she was treated, how women are sexualized and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then turned around and, started up the OnlyFans thing and whatever. I'm going to say it right off the bat. I don't have a problem. Anybody that wants to do an OnlyFans, go do an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But those two things side by side gave her a lot of grief. I don't agree with everything.
You're over-sexualizing me here. How dare they? And then, which is a good, true statement, but then she goes and sexualizes herself, which is her own choice, her own body, her own power. I get, but
yes,
there's still that air of, come on, really? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you return to the scene of the crime or you go back for more. Like that's kind of what it feels like here. But I understand also why. You watched where she was competing. She thought she was going to be part of Evolution. She thought that she was going to be going to the main roster. She had things built in such a way. And now she was basically what looked like the main event in a children's backyard birthday party in one of the videos. Like it was just in a grass with a ring set up. And we know how that is on the indie circuit. That happens sometimes. But she's making more money in 1 month on that fan site than she made in the entirety of her time at WWE. So that says a lot there. Also says a lot about the Gooner side of things, but I don't even think she's doing full nude either. I think it's just lewd at this point, and she's still reining it in. So,
and you know what? Like, whatever, like, it's one of those things that's going to be discussed. Oh, OnlyFans is this big, terrible thing. I'm going to go do OnlyFans, go do OnlyFans. I don't give a shit. Is there an air of hypocrisy between the two ideas? I guess. But my bigger thing is, do I have maybe some questions, maybe some issues with how she left WWE, some of the things she said afterwards, some of the things she said about fans after she left and whatever? Probably. It becomes irrelevant when you've got somebody that has said, I need to step away. I need to take care of myself. I'm not in a good headspace. I want to make sure I still love this. If I don't go away, I'll never find out if I can love it again, type thing. I'm stepping away. I'm going to go take care of my own mental health.
Yeah.
That's a completely separate conversation than whatever other random topics you or I or anybody else might disagree with her on. Because if you're not good mentally, go take care of yourself mentally should supersede everything.
Exactly. And there's a thing to it, there is kind of like that side of it. It is unfamiliar waters, you could say. I would guess, but realistically, through it all, I mean, you want to see people do well, and that was the thing with Elena Black. You want to see her health and mental well-being prove to be what's best for her. And I don't blame her for getting, do you want to go out there, do all the travel, all the exercise, everything that goes with wrestling for $1,000 on a Sunday in front of 100 people when you can sit home in your underwear and make millions?
I mean, there's a question to be had there for sure. And we've seen other people. I mean, I think, what's her name? Mandy Rose, Mandy Sachs has said that, you know, she made more in a week on there than she made in WWE in a year and whatever. And again, if you want to like totally make the switch, like a lot of wrestlers, I mean, people are going to hate this comparison, but it's a lot of wrestlers that decide they're done wrestling because it's time to go to Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, shoot me for it, but it ain't that different. But also the whole, like, if you do still love wrestling and you're finding it hard to love it right now for whatever reason, like whether it's not as fulfilling as you thought it was, then yeah, step away, see if you miss it. If you step away and you don't miss it, then maybe that time is done and go on to the next thing, no matter what the next thing is. What I won't hop on board with is in general, but like we're doing this in a wrestling context. Oh
Yeah.
well, whenever people bitch about their mental health, they're just doing it for attention. It's like by stepping away from wrestling, do you know how much attention they are walking away from? And attention is not the key point, but it's just to point out the stupidity of the argument.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
you're not
if you
wrong.
want, if all you wanted was attention, then you would still be out there in front of fans. Now, indie shows not as big as a WWE show, obviously, but if you're performing in front of 100 fans or 100,000 fans, if you decide to step away from wrestling, you're now performing in front of no fans on the wrestling side of things.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that she's starved for attention, she's walking away from that attention. And just in general, don't be a dick and
Well,
like
walking
mock
away from a
people for
certain type of attention and then bringing about
yeah,
type of another.
yeah.
So it's kind of like dual-fold.
That's why I said that's what I say in the wrestling
Yeah.
context. Like, because we're all supposedly wrestling fans out there on that wrestling Twitter cesspool sphere, whatever you want to call it. But also,
Absolutely.
let's just not go with the generic, like, it took a long time for people in general to get to the point of, like, hey, it's cool to ask for help. Hey, it's cool to say, like, I'm not doing too hot right now. Let's not immediately turn that into, oh, they must just want attention. Because that's it. I'm sorry, but it is like seeing somebody walk into the ER with a broken leg and saying, "Oh, do you really have a broken leg?
Yeah.
Are you just looking for some doctor attention? Like,
You just want some drugs?
what are we doing here?"
They're there for the drugs. I'm telling you, it's a new, like, precarious set of waters to navigate. And I get it because you don't want to sound insensitive. And I want to see whoever it is, you know, if they leave, I want them to make the most money and be the most successful and enjoy themselves in the best way. Like you said, though, just the handling of the PR wasn't great.
You say success, right?
Yeah.
But like you say, like make the most money, have the most success. Like, not everybody. Like a lot of people have made the whole like, oh, you know, OnlyFans people make this much in a day where they would have had to work a month in W. Like, that's like money is part of success.
Yes, absolutely.
Like trying something new, like go start a band and play at a bar in front of 20 people. It might not be much money, but you actually got out onto the stage for the first time. Maybe that's your success.
Could be.
I should say in the same week that we've lost Ozzy Osbourne, R.I.P. and all that sort of
I know.
thing. All the outpouring of that kind of thing.
Well,
Just a couple days
after I said too, I miss terribly is the touring concert festivals that used to be around. Now, like, yeah, you have Coachella or something that you have to go to, but there aren't the Ozfest, the Project Mayhems, the Family Values, and I think of like all the times at 12 years old, 13 years old, I was not the biggest Ozzy fan. I enjoyed him in Black Sabbath like a little bit later in life. And
a lot of I was
the more
talking
my
about this
taste
earlier.
developed, but I wouldn't have seen it if I didn't get to see Black Sabbath play live in front of my eyes. You know, if I didn't get to see Ozzy, if I didn't get to see all of these bands that I had never heard of because it was a 25 band festival, you know, that was touring for Ozfest, those type of things. So he reintroduced music to a whole new generation with the Ozfest stuff. He got through to a whole generation of young people with the proper utilization of reality TV. That Osbourne show on MTV was one of the biggest things ever, rightfully so. It was so entertaining.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's Ozzy was a legend in his own right.
I was one of the people, and I was never like a huge Ozzy guy. Like, obviously, everybody knows like "Mama, I'm Coming Home" and "Crazy Train" and like various things like that. Like you say, eventually we branched off into the like the reality TV portion where he became like a character rather
Yes.
than just a musician. I'm sorry, like I'm a wrestling fan. A lot of my exposure to Ozzy was through WWE.
Yeah. And now you get to see Ozzy the person, and that's what WWE's been doing too with their wrestlers. That's one of the things that I really wanted to take from is that Ozzy kind of showed how you could be this larger than life musician and also this down to earth guy. Like there was multifaceted different sides to the man. So
the comparison that I was making earlier today, though, is like, yeah, Ozzy Osbourne, like, even is one of those musicians that even if you're like, it's not your thing, you know who it is. It's the modern day rock and roll equivalent of Elvis.
Exactly.
Like, everybody knows who Elvis is, even if Elvis isn't your thing. Everybody knows who the Beatles are, even if it's not your thing. There's also the other half of it, and this is a comparison that I have to make carefully. But there's a little bit of the Betty White element of it as well, where you really never thought they were going to go.
Yes. Kind of just like, oh, Ozzy, he'll be here forever. He'll outlive the cockroaches. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the exact reference I used earlier. But it's the element of, and wrestling is really good at this as well, is you don't have to be one thing.
No, you don't.
The biggest example I'm going to use is Chris Jericho. If you're a Chris Jericho fan, are you a fan of Chris Jericho the actor, Chris Jericho the musician, or Chris Jericho the wrestler?
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very cool that way. But it's also, for myself, it's more a listen to somebody like Triple H talk about Ozzy. I'm a big Hailstorm fan. Listen to Lizzie Hale talk about Ozzy.
Yeah.
Listen to other people that are your thing and how they influence them, etc. But yeah, no, from a performance point of view, it's just the easiest example I can think of right now is like, yeah, Atlanta Black. Do we want to wish her all the best? Do we want to wish her all the success in the world? Yeah. Do we get to decide what success is for her? No.
And anyway. That's kind of the new territory, the new way, and it is interesting. So like you can go into wrestling, make your name, but you can also have this business on the side. I'm curious to see, how that's going to affect girls being ever brought back, or like Mandy Rose said she wasn't going to stop, and that's why her page kept her from getting that call back from WWE. We were told that repeatedly. That's why she was let go, as
but
much as they have certain things. Yeah,
at least at that point, it's not that they don't want to necessarily come back. It's because WWE's drawn a line in the sand.
Yes.
And unpopular as that is, and as much as I don't particularly agree with that, as a company, that is their decision to make.
Exactly. No, you're right.
As unfortunate as it is. Yeah.
Unfair as it may seem.
Atlanta Black is one. Obviously, with all these stories, we hope the people are just doing well and finding their own happiness, contentment, whatever.
Yeah.
Second one is Eddie Thorpe, who came out this week talking about the fact that, when he was backstage in NXT and things weren't going quite the way he wanted to with his character, he thought he was going to be more in the main event. He came in with that gimmick of like, basically like he was leaning on his heritage a little bit, but it was like the DJ gimmick. Type thing. It was a little bit of like DJZ mixed with a like an ethnicity gimmick, for lack of a better term.
No, really, I mean that was it. That was the truth.
They tore down the sort of the more kooky DJ elements of it and let him lean into a little bit more serious side. And he did get himself into, I can think of at least one pay-per-view where he was like scraping at the main event. Not the main event like title picture, but like mixing it up with the other people that were like, there's a difference between being in the main event and mixing it up with main event people.
Exactly.
I think that's a reality that we all have to say. But he's come out recently and he's talked about just like he'd be in the backstage area and having like breakdowns and whatnot. And he tried to talk to Shawn Michaels about it. And I don't want to say the accusation, but the implication that he's made is that Shawn Michaels wasn't available, avoided the topic, told him to go to medical, told him, gave him resources rather than time.
Yeah.
Like rather than his own time. I don't quite know how to tackle this one because I would imagine that as far as stuff like that goes, WWE has every resource under the sun.
Yes, you would assume so, rightfully so,
And if they have I don't want to say protocol, like, oh, you didn't follow the rules, but if they have a protocol, they have a protocol for a reason. My only thought with this is twofold, is not going to wave my flag and stick up for Shawn Michaels because I'm a Shawn Michaels guy, but if he sat there and he said, like, look, I'm your boss, we can talk about your job and your career and where we're going and creativity and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have the tools in my toolbox to give you this kind of help.
Which is a real reality that people need to admit at times.
Which is a fair thing. Now, it's not the answer that he wants, and if you're looking, because I'm assuming everybody in NXT, and I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. I would assume that everybody that's in the NXT, what do you want to call it? Like the NXT wing right now.
Yeah.
Even if Shawn Michaels wasn't your guy growing up, you got to kind of look at the guy and be like, this is somebody that's done everything.
Everything, exactly. Like, he's accomplished what it is to be a true superstar. He's broken records. He's, done everything
and for the most part
needs to be done.
For the most part, like what you hear, and you're only going to hear the good stuff because things are going to be carefully controlled as far as communication goes and all that kind of thing. But for the most part, it sounds like the wrestlers have a pretty open door like relationship with Shawn Michaels. So going to a guy, going to a mentor, going to a boss that has that kind of policy and being told like, hey, I'm not the guy that can help you with this.
Yeah.
Has got to be frustrating.
There's got to be
for Thorpe. Yeah. So I don't want to say that he's Eddie Thorpe's like we said about Elena Black. You don't want to never say like, oh, this person's just bitching.
Exactly. No, because they kind of did feel like you can't really say failed by a bad creative, because if you can get your minutes maximized, like there's parts to it where it's not all creative. It's not all, like there's an element of luck. We realized that too. And they started to write better for Eddie at the end, it felt like. And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, we're not going to stick with what we're doing here. Here's the plan. It's been scrapped. And it kind of reminds me of the JBL side story that we had that was so important. And it was all supposed to be paid off at Slammiversary. And I guess they just scrapped it for reasons.
Think
about it. He appeared at AAA. He appeared at GCW. He appeared everywhere.
He appeared at Destiny. Check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list.
Exactly.
But Slammiversary and I laughed about it a lot.
Yeah.
But you figure a lot of people still have problems with Wentz. A lot of people still have problems with Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah.
A lot of people were going to have problems with the fact that Enzo was there for a night.
Yeah.
A lot of people have problems with the fact that they're working with WWE. I think having another JBL appearance might have been a step too. I don't care, but I can see where they were thinking, hey, maybe JBL will be one push too far on this really amazing night where we've broken all kinds of records and whatnot.
No, and it makes perfect sense.
From the creative point of view, like you and I have done previews and whatnot. Where it's like, I really think they're going to do something with Eddie Thorpe. Oh, wait, they're not.
Yeah.
But if he's sitting
there,
had
that creative moment where he didn't, have to get the spot in the Battle Royal. He just had the triple threat given to him. And I'm like, oh, crap, they might make him champion, for like a very brief moment. You were like, they're doing something exciting here. And then it just didn't really follow through. And you're like, guys, did you forget about somebody? Or did you forget something?
Yeah.
That's shouldn't be how it feels either.
You want to think that the worst thing that happens to somebody that night is, oh, I didn't get the spot I was going to get. But if that's happening while you're having, we should say as well, like you and I are not mental health professionals by any stretch of the imagination. So
I just play one on TV, granted.
Yes. So I'm saying this very, very loosely. So, but if you're getting that kind of like bad news, disappointing news, whatever, while dealing with some kind of mental health crisis from some description.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to weigh on you.
Yeah, but you're dealing with that, and you go to this person that's like the mentor, the boss, the guy with the open door, the like hey, let's figure this out guy that we've all heard about, and he says he can't help you. That's got to be shattering.
Exactly, and happy birthday to HBK as well. Yesterday was his birthday, so.
Fantastic, and they were in Texas.
Yes, indeed, right? So,
but no, I
get some hometown tune.
Number one, again, it comes back to like he's not even with NXT anymore,
Yeah.
which is why I guess he's allowed to speak so freely about, or feels like he's able, I should say, to speak so freely about this. Number one, just like Elena Black, I hope he's doing all right. I hope he's
Oh, I do
found
as well.
some peace, some serenity, whatever. My secondary, like very, very, very secondary thought is like maybe HBK didn't think he had the tools that he needed to help this guy. So he said, "Hey, here are the people that are having these tools." And the other side of that, or the sorry, I guess it's the third side of that. Nobody's ever asked, I don't think anyway, and nobody's ever asked Shawn Michaels, like, "Hey, where are you at mentally?"
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Like,
Because
what are you?
he's lived a life.
No doubt
He's lived
about it.
a life of like extreme highs, extreme lows, fallen under scrutiny, been the biggest guy in the company, and all that kind of thing. So the other part of that is like the old expression, and it's kind of cliche, and I hate how cliche it sounds, but every therapist has a therapist, every
Yes.
psychologist has a psychologist,
Yeah, no,
because being the person, and we all know like socially in our groups, like who the good listeners are. I'd like to think that I'm a good listener, but you got somebody that's going through some serious shit.
yeah.
You try to help them with it, but then you take a bit of it with you as well,
Oh,
right?
you always
So
do, and that's part of it. You know, you take a piece from everybody.
but, like, so it's one of those totally speculating on my part. I do not wanna be speaking on anybody else's well-being, but, like, if Shawn Michaels ain't good, like, if HBK ain't good himself, maybe he couldn't, like, even if he had the tools to do it, like, maybe he just couldn't take it on
So Jeremy
as
Renner,
well.
Mr. Hawkeye, was on Joe Rogan, and he made a point, and I've had it happen to me firsthand, so I can absolutely relate. But he made a great point here. And when he first got crushed, and he went in, by his snow bobcat, and he went into the
Oh,
emergency
yeah.
department and all that, they were gonna take out his eye, amputate his leg and his arm, like they were cutting him to pieces to save his body, because that's all those doctors knew how to do. And it just so happened to be that where they were, there was a doctor that specifically deals with crush injuries at like ski resorts and stuff, and he was
Okay.
there, and he happens to be a leading like scientist in this titanium
Like,
reconstruction of your,
reconstruction,
yes.
yeah.
And he walked in, he's like, "Oh, I could save you. I'll save all your limbs too, don't worry about it." He walked out, put him through surgery, and the guy never lost anything. But it doesn't mean the other doctor's incompetent. The doctor
No.
literally, that was all he knew how to do to save this man. That was the expertise, the maximum expertise that he had at that point in time. He didn't, you know what I mean? So Jeremy right now could be, without some limbs, had it just been that second doctor didn't show. And it wasn't because that doctor didn't care. It wasn't, it's all he knew. That was the wealth of his knowledge,
Well,
it's those
it's like
type of
a
things.
like you could have the best surgeon in the world, or you can have a wilderness doctor, and somebody gets mauled by a bear. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm gonna send them to the wilderness doctor. That's a shitty generic thing I just said, but it's absolutely true.
But it's
But
why
it's
we
one
have
of the
specialties. Yeah, exactly.
exactly. But it's like I'm thinking I'm giving a lot of benefit of the doubt, and I hope everybody listening to the sound of my voice right now doesn't think I'm downplaying the whatever situation Eddie Thorpe was feeling at the time. I think if you're Shawn Michaels and you decide to try and help somebody with their mental health, you become a caregiver in that moment rather than a boss. And if it doesn't go well, some of that lands back on you.
Oh, absolutely.
So if it doesn't go well, that's him done. But also you're taking that on to yourself. Like, and if you don't think you have the tools for it and you try to make it work anyway, and you can do damage if you don't know what you're doing. Same thing as somebody
Even with the
pretending to be a
best
doctor that
intentions,
doesn't.
you can
Yeah,
do harm
exactly.
still. Absolutely. You nailed it there, my friend.
So I don't throw any shade whatsoever at Eddie Thorpe. Like we said, we saw his creatives ups and downs live on our TVs, and we talked about it in forums like this. So it's got to be frustrating. So to hear that he was dealing with further like internal struggles after that is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And to think that where he thought he was going to get the help isn't where he got the help. It's one of those, you're not in WWE anymore. I hope wherever you are right now, you're getting the help, because the person you thought could give you the help either didn't, couldn't, wasn't able to, thought they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, and you kind of got to look at it this way too. You know, there's got to be a part of it that's really hard to stomach when you see somebody like Ethan Page walk in. You're like, I'm younger, I'm better, and he gets the title in 40 days. And there is that aspect of it, like Charlotte saying that everybody was booing Ashley, and now she did not want her and Bliss to break up at SummerSlam. This is the most fun she's had. This is the most enjoyment she's gotten out of wrestling in a long time. So are you going to tell her she can't? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's like they are human still, and it's got to be so difficult to go through that.
I thought the happiest surprise pop of this year was going to be how over Dominic Mysterio was at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
Because it like everybody loves the Judgment Day. But even in the Judgment Day, Dominic's still the one you boo. He was over as hell. So much so to the point where I think it was like either a cameraman or a referee said, go back to the ring and like take your cheers.
Yes.
Cameraman, go back to the ring, take your cheers and whatever. The pop, the hot tag to Charlotte Flair
top that
at Evolution. Like, and she said
without 60,000 people too. They top that.
Yeah. But like, I think I was listening to it maybe it was on the Undertaker podcast. She's like, I can't smile, I can't cry, I can't break down, I gotta hold it together because we still got a match to do. But it's like, I know people have a lot to say about Charlotte, and I'm sorry, for the vast majority, nobody's gonna give a shit if we start talking about like the mental health of somebody like Charlotte Flair, because she's become such a popular person to hate for various superficial reasons that are absolutely not her fault. But it's like one of those, like, the fans are gonna be dicks. We're going to tune in next week and the fans are still going to be dicks. You got a good moment. Like, I'm sorry, there's other things we're going to talk about when we get into the past couple of pay-per-views that we've watched in the past little while, but that's a headline for me. That's a highlight for me.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the Charlotte and Bliss thing is working at all is kind of an anomaly into itself, but the fact that like whatever else this tandem is doing right now, it got Charlotte to be loved by the fans for a night. When she came back from her injury after being gone for like a year, tried to be a babyface, and everybody said, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
it just didn't seem like it worked at that time. That was
really, we're not gonna, the crowd basically said, we're not going to allow you to be anybody that gets any love ever, which is pretty fucked up. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
she's earned it. She's deserved it. And a lot has changed since she's been getting her praise. And I love to see it.
Yeah. She's not going to shake off some of the superficial identity politics stuff. And she's not going to shake off the fact that her dad is her dad. And I don't think she wants to shake off the fact that her dad is her dad. Maybe just don't hate my guts for existing.
Yeah.
Like, we can't have these types of conversations and bring like the mental health conversation into 2025 and say, well, it only applies to people that we give a shit about, because then you're defeating the purpose and you're making it worse.
Exactly.
Solving half a problem makes it twice as bad. is a really cheesy expression that I used to use a lot when it came to a lot of identity politics issues that we're not going to touch on today, but it's never been more true. If you want to preach about empathy, but then say, well, yeah, but not for that person, then you're just a dick.
Exactly. Then what are you achieving?
Then, like, you're a dick, you're a bully, and from a psychological / mental health point of view, you're pretty much a bully at that point.
Pretty much. I mean,
like, you're pretty much I don't want to say abuser, because that's a different type of thing, but like you're a secondhand mental abuser. Does that make sense?
It does. Sadly, it does.
And speaking of people that wind other people up and don't exactly get sympathy from everybody, I didn't even write down who he was talking to in this interview, because I didn't take any notes for this podcast, guys. I don't know if you can tell or not.
Yeah.
CM Punk was talking about last year's what's it called? Elimination Chamber in Perth.
Australia,
and the fact that and the fact that he had to miss it, and the fact that he sort of, I think he kind of said it and tried to downplay it at the same time, because I was like, how vulnerable do I want to be? Basically, like, I came back to WWE. I finally came home after 10 years and all the water under the bridge or whatever, and I get injured almost immediately. And he said, yeah, it basically put me into a depression.
Yeah.
I couldn't even go to chamber to participate in whatever. And he doesn't go into any great kind of detail, but for somebody, and I'm saying this as a positive thing, right?
Yeah.
For somebody in the prestigious, like top spot to be of somebody like a CM Punk to be talking about depression, first of all, brings attention to the issue, which is awesome. It's kind of, I would put it on the same tier as John Moxley when he came back from rehab with the alcohol abuse and all that sort of thing, and being in everybody's face about it. You know, the one guy, we talked about it on the last pod, the one guy in the crowd that called him a bunch of horrible shit when he came back and basically told him to go fuck himself, and he threw him out of the building or something, didn't he? But for Punk to just be like, yeah, of course, like I came back here after so long and got injured immediately. Of course I was depressed. Of course it put me into a depressive state.
But like you said, it's great because beforehand they couldn't mention these things, not just for the mental health side of it, the stigma, but also because you were viewed as less than if you said these things. You know, you're not a man, you're weak, you're, you know, a child. Oh, you need mommy, that kind of thing. And it's like, no, of course you're depressed. You think Big E wasn't depressed when he got injured? You know, you think, of course, these people deal with these things and they're suffering for it.
The thing about it is there was that thing for years and years and years where people, and I think the Finn Balor was a huge victim of this when they wanted to throw the rocket on him right away when he hit the main roster, and they made him the first what's it called, the title that doesn't exist anymore, the Universal champion, right? It was him versus Roman, and he got injured the same night that he won it, and he got labeled as injured, right? So now you got Punk, who's injury prone, but now also, like, from a psychological perspective, he's struggling as well. So it's like, here's Punk, who can be injured, can still do some great things on the mic, wasn't even able to make it to Australia, so he wasn't even able to do what he could do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true.
But I see all these people online, like, as soon as this interview came out, I think it wasn't on No DQ, but I think it was like aggregated on No DQ, and that's how I stumbled across it, right? But all these people in the response are like, "Oh, you're such a fucking pussy. They still kept you in the main event scene. They still kept everybody talking about you, even when you weren't fucking doing anything." And it's like, who does this help?
Yeah, what are you
like? I'm not trying to be on any kind of high ground here. I'm as sure as anybody else, but like, who the fuck does that help?
Exactly. Like, what are you doing? How is this helpful?
The guy's injured physically. The guy's struggling mentally. The guy's clearly, at the time anyway, not going to be having any matches, taking any spots from any of your favorites. So, like, just take the guy down whenever we can. Like, what the fuck's the deal?
That's their only outset at this point, it seems like.
But yeah, I mean, like, and again, it's not groundbreaking in the sense of, if we look back to a year or 2 years ago when that happened, and you had said, yeah, he's kind of struggling right now mentally because he just came back and he's really disappointed or whatever. I think everybody with a rational head on their shoulder would have said, yeah, that makes sense.
No,
like,
that makes perfect sense. It should how it should be, but
that's whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's not surprising, and it's sort of logical, and it kind of makes sense. It's still really, because somebody like Elena Black was on NXT. She's done some indie stuff, whatever. She's got a fan base. Eddie Thorpe has done some things. He did some stuff on NXT. He impressed a lot of people on NXT. He's got a fan base, but respectfully, they don't have the megaphone of, as I said a minute ago, like a John Moxley or a CM Punk. So, not that we're happy that they are having those struggles, but we're happy that people that are having those struggles have that megaphone and can bring the awareness
absolutely
to it, so that we can't just pretend that it's not a thing. So, I don't know. It just seemed like a week of a lot of people talking about stuff that we should be talking about. So I thought we should talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's something.
Punk's sharing his stuff. Eddie Thorpe's sharing his stuff from a maybe a disgruntled ex-employee point of view, but it's still valid.
But he's doing it in a justified way, though, and like you said with her, she's taking a step back.
It's cool. But it's cool for Elena as well to be like, look, I am having these struggles, and this is what I'm doing about it. So sharing the this is what I'm doing about it is going to help people in a very different way. Eddie Thorpe having the, like, hey, I didn't even feel like I had anybody. is going to speak to somebody else out there that's struggling, that doesn't feel like they have anybody. CM Punk will basically show you, like, even somebody that's reached the echelon like he has can still have those struggles. So if you're having it, you're not alone.
Exactly.
Again, I go back to the Moxley thing, because that was powerful in a way that AEW
unintended
is,
way,
where
yeah.
Well, no, in a very intentional way, I think, because one thing, like, WWE is a little bit more of a polished show, AEW is a little bit more of a raw show, no pun intended. So
Sure,
he was
yeah.
able to come out on screen and talk to the audience live and be very
Open and
raw
real,
about
yeah.
it. The last time we had that in WWE was when Roman Reigns came out to talk about his cancer reappearing, or when, like, Edge had to retire, when Daniel Bryan had
Right,
to
yeah,
retire,
those type of
etc.
things. When somebody's
That doesn't
injured.
happen. I'll be honest. Like, we're WWE guys here, but WWE doesn't have that kind of open, raw relationship with the audience like AEW does. That's something, for all the shit that I throw at AEW, that's something they should be given immense credit for.
Oh, absolutely. They
Anyway, so
have
I think
given
it's
them chances and times to talk, and it's been important.
Yeah, I think it's very cool that these conversations are happening, and quite frankly, people that know way more about these type of struggles than I do, but I just want to not have the spotlight necessarily be on us about it, but let us put a spotlight on these people that are putting a spotlight on these issues, because I think it's a really cool thing to see.
It is.
Once again, I'm going to say it's a couple weeks old now, but go over to our friends at the Wrestling for Life Network. They did a big mental
Amazing.
health live stream for
Yeah.
Men's Mental Health Month. It was for Men's Mental Health Month, but they are very open about the fact that it's not just for guys; it is for everybody. It's not just for wrestling; it's for everybody. Yeah.
I think saying men's is just more or less along the lines of, like, hey, the stigma doesn't need to be here and everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
Sadly, when you say men's, because usually men's would mean, you know what I mean? It doesn't exclude, but you get the point, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did it as part of Men's Mental Health Month, which was last month, but they then went out of their way to say, hey, it's not just for them. So, once again, shout out to those guys, as we always do, to Big Nick and KJ. It's still up over on their site, and it was a really cool thing to watch. So the Wrestling for Life Network on YouTube, and I think they're on Spotify as well.
I believe so.
Really, really cool thing. I love that these conversations are happening. Something else. We're going to flip a switch. We're going to go slightly lighter, but also slightly more Spaz is annoyed. So it's going to be lighter. What's better than a really, really goofy thing in wrestling that everybody can enjoy, right? Wrestling can have 5-star matches. Wrestling can have great, 5-star promo battles and all that kind of thing. When you can find something in wrestling that's goofy and fun, and yes, I'm going to use the comparison once again, it is the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, which
you
everybody
need to
now
have
is
the
saying
goofy
the new
stuff.
Superman.
Oh, fuck off. Just fuck off.
James Gunn does it again.
I'd rather go watch the new Jurassic Park again. The new Jurassic Park is actually really good, and Scarlett Johansson's in it, so there's even an MCU tie-in.
Yeah,
Go
figure.
And Mahershala Ali as well is really good in it. Moving swiftly on. The worst thing in the world is take something that's really fun, that everybody's into, that everybody's kind of participating in as much as you can from an audience point of view, and turn it into something that we have to have a serious conversation about instead.
Yeah.
Right? People are saying, ever since she was called up to the main roster, Stephanie Vacour is just WWE using women as sex objects again, because she does the devil's kiss.
Yeah, fans are saying she's only over because of that, and I feel like that is such a minimization of her character, but
the ones that I'm seeing, though, like, there is that as well, which is just stupid. But there's the whole, like, it's not even a dig at her, it's a dig at WWE. It's like, oh, they're taking 10 steps backwards. They just want to see some chick out there fucking the ground. It's like, all right, Rikishi did the stink face. Did anybody care?
Yeah, exactly.
Realistically speaking,
like come on.
If you want to go that way, and I'm not just going to say this because she's not somebody I particularly like, a bigger example of that is somebody like Naomi doing the rear.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When she does that, I mean, it should be the same thing. Same.
because because that's a cushy bum in the face, right?
Yeah.
This is, I've got you in a headlock and I'm jamming your head down into the ground. It's the same effect on the opponent as, because it's a face first thing, right?
Yes.
It's the same. It's the same effect as something like Jeff Jarrett doing the stroke. It's the same kind of effect as the Miz doing the skull crushing finale. Yes, when she was in NXT and Booker T was doing the sound effects, I called it the skull fucking finale. That's not the point. The fact that people are saying, "Oh, well, you know, they're all it is guy writers in the back pretending that they're like eating her out or something." And it's like, I don't know if you've ever eaten a chick out, but it kind of helps if your face is facing her.
Yeah, you're missing
You're
a few
doing
steps.
that. So the criticisms are, but it's
and you can be
just like,
creative, but you know,
let's minimize it. Let's minimize it. Let's minimize it. It gets a pop and it's over. People are into it. It's more, there's a bigger pop, and it's one of those, you know, when The Rock is going to do the people's elbow and he does the arm wave back and forth, right?
Mhm.
Or, you know, when Roman's going to do the spear, but he goes into the turnbuckle, he does the ooh ah, right?
Yes.
There's a bigger pop
There's a
before she does
precursor,
anything.
yes.
Yeah, the precursor, when she's got the opponent on the ground and she just grabs them by the hair and holds them up before she does anything. That gets the bigger pop than the actual move does. But it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's
not
just a
there.
bit of fun.
You can't
It's
have
just a
fun.
bit of fun, and don't make me have a serious conversation about something that's fun, because then it's not fun anymore. And plus, she's fucking fantastic. Can we be real for a second?
She's great in the ring. She's very, very real seeming, sounding, and feeling. It comes across as believable with her and genuine, not at all like someone trying to, like, you know, I'm learning the language, that kind of thing. You know, I love America. You get that's not her at all. That's not at all what you're getting with her.
I did like what she said, though, because when you hear her in interviews, she's really down on herself because she thinks she's not that great at English, and I think she's fine.
She's much better than some others, so
fair, and that shouldn't be held against anybody either. But
no, but I'm saying, like, she's improved this much already. That should be considered, you know, and taken into consideration.
Yeah, but when she cut after she won the battle royal and she cut the promo, she's like, "You'll have to excuse me. Like, English isn't my first language. Wrestling is my first language."
Yeah, and everybody
That's
went
all
nuts.
you need, man. That's an idea that everybody can get, but like, that's one of those like unifying statements or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, because everybody loves wrestling. We're all here for wrestling, obviously. So when you say you're gonna do nothing but, people are excited.
And especially when, like, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to lean on this too much, but like, we are on Netflix now. It is around the world. It is World Wrestling Entertainment. So like, let's not pretend. I mean, yes, it's still an English speaking American based company. Like, you can't avoid that. But let's not pretend that, like, not speaking English or not speaking very good English is a bar to entry.
Exactly.
Because it's not.
Nope. I mean,
And
you've got Io,
I'm sorry,
you've got Kyrie, you've got Asuka.
spotted throughout, like, and all of them have gotten pretty good at their English anyway.
Yes,
but I'm
they've
sorry,
each
like,
improved, but
when Io and Asuka are in the ring yelling at each other in Japanese, I don't want to sound disrespectful. I don't have to care what they're saying because it's the presentation of it.
yes,
It's
you
the
know
energy.
what they're
And when
trying
you
to convey. You know that they're
when
either
you let
upset,
somebody
angry, betrayed, sad, mad, whatever it might be. They have it all.
And it's, you know, it's again another type of a cliche thing, but like, if you let somebody speak in their native language, you're going to get more of the real them. And they're
Yes.
going to feel their most confident, and you're going to get the best out of them. Do I have to know what they're saying? No. Does somebody on the other side of the country that maybe doesn't speak English need to know what Roman Reigns is saying in his promo? No, but
they can tell by the
exactly.
Yeah, all of it, the entire package being presented.
So all the people around the world that don't speak English get that, like, benefit of the doubt that they're not put off by English speaking people. So let's give ourselves the benefit of the doubt that we will still get the message, even if we don't necessarily know what language somebody is speaking. Stephanie Vacour is great. The fact that she has the, like, I was about to call it the skull fucking finale again. The devil's kiss should be her finisher, because what I will say, and what nobody's really saying, is her actual finisher, like that pump handle backbreaker thing that she does, is a little bit of an anticlimactic finish.
It doesn't
but
feel like the end of the match, no.
Yeah. Of a million things that I could criticize about somebody, that's literally the only one I can think of. I think I said it to you before in another pod. Like, she's the next Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
Not in the sense that she's trying to be Rhea Ripley, but
no, but she's going to be the next
Ripley,
top women's star.
Fucking star. The way they're presenting her from jump, like, they took a while to develop Rhea Ripley and the presentation of Rhea Ripley to what it is now. And it was kind of cool to see it in stages, to see where she is now, because there's a benefit to that.
Oh, yeah.
Stephanie Vacour, they are presenting her as a star from day one.
Exactly. To the point where that way.
To the point where a couple of weeks ago on Raw, they came face to face in a backstage segment, and it got the biggest pop in the building of the night.
Yes. So, makes you think.
So everybody get over it. Go touch a bit of grass. Go out and breathe some fresh air. It won't hurt you, I promise. And stop trying to nail down Stephanie Vacour just because she didn't sign with your company. just putting it out there. So we're going to rapid fire this. Because since the last time we did State of Wrestling, there's been Great American Bash, Saturday night's main event, Evolution, Slammiversary, and I don't really have much to say about All In other than get well, Adam Cole. But of the rest, what do you want to talk about?
I mean, so that's kind of the thing at this point in time. So one of the things that is still in the current zeitgeist is Goldberg. Him complaining as he's been about his farewell, his send off, and how it wasn't exactly how he pictured it or wanted it to be. And after, seeing other people's retirements or lack thereof, Big E didn't get a retirement match, a lot of people, and he's had multiple retirement matches. He's had multiple, supposedly this is the end, and he's retired, and he's gone to the Hall of Fame. And yeah, maybe they could have built it up over a couple months for you. Maybe they could have done a little bit more out of it or with it, granted. But all in all, I feel like they gave you one hell of an exit. Yeah, they messed up the ending, but they put the full speech on YouTube immediately. And it wasn't really a them thing. It was more of an NBC thing. They thought they had more time, and NBC's like, no, we got to squeeze in one more commercial, and they didn't want to do it over the finish of the match. So
yeah, it's a hard one, the Goldberg thing, because he wasn't, somebody brought this up a while ago, he was one of the biggest weapons of WCW when they were running WWE to the bone every Monday.
Yes.
So more than most people, how many people were at the time of the Monday Night War, how many people were fantasy booking, what if we ever got Goldberg versus Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah.
He was the biggest weapon. So I don't think he was ever seen as a WWE guy.
No, certainly not.
Which makes the conversation a little bit more awkward. I'm in two halves about this, right? Should he have the biggest, most bombastic send-off ever? No. Complaining about the idea for Saturday night's main event as it was laid out, okay, maybe you're pushing it a little bit.
Yeah.
The fact that what they did lay out didn't go to plan. Things got cut very weirdly, not completely WWE's fault. Cut completely weirdly, cut to the commercial break, 1 minute left in the show type of thing, and then come back, has his speech, and it gets cut off. I get him being pissed off about that. So, with that being said, backtrack it one thought. That would not have happened if it wasn't on NBC. If it was on something that was Netflix-ish, even if they had done Goldberg's last match on Raw, which would have been weird, but whatever. Make it a special goodbye Goldberg episode of Raw,
which could have been handled. Yeah, it could have been done.
Make it a Netflix special, whatever. No, instead they did it to plump up the ratings on a NBC special.
Yes.
So as far as the placement of it that way, if it had been somewhere else, the cutoff wouldn't have happened. I can see that as an argument.
It wouldn't have been if he had it at a PLE. He's saying he wouldn't have been restricted with time, which, granted, he might be right.
To be fair, I don't think they're giving him a paper. This is why I'm saying like a special episode of Raw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, you know, they
He
have the
wanted a
flex on
PLE.
Raw.
He wanted it to be like, oh, Money
Yeah.
in the Bank featuring Goldberg or SummerSlam. Realistically, was and it
Yeah.
just
And see, but see, this is where, like, I think the idea of it being a pay-per-view instead of on TV was just to take it off TV. Where
yes,
they have the extra flexibility now is with Monday Night Raw not being on TV, they could do this. And so it's a halfway point for everybody, right?
yes,
Do a special episode of Raw, even like because they've got the flexibility. Raw used to be 3 hours. Raw was 3 hours when it debuted on Netflix, and then it got cut back to an hour and a half.
yeah.
So they can sort of play around with the time. He wouldn't have lost the cutoff. The match itself was great. He was better in that match than I thought he was going to be, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, I
Obvious.
mean, Gunther certainly made him look like $1 million and got
Oh
more
yeah,
out of him than anybody expected. So,
but I mean, also Goldberg, you thought it was going to be like a 3-minute match,
well,
and
that's what
it
I'm
wasn't.
saying. No, and Gunther delivered him to an excellent showing.
Oh yeah.
So, him being
So
so negative really makes it feel petty at times.
but I'm saying if that exact layout happened on a like I say, I'm going to stick with the idea of a special Raw because Raw is the one TV show that's on Netflix everywhere.
Yes.
Because SmackDown and NXT, even though they're on Netflix for us, it still is constrained by like TV time frames because of the American TV stuff. So I'm saying very, very special. Make it a full 3-hour episode of Monday Night Raw dedicated to Goldberg. It doesn't have to touch pay-per-view. It can go as long as it needs to go or as short as it needs to go. There's no commercial cutoff. He can do his speech and say goodbye. I
Yeah.
think it could have been, or I think what they gave him was perfect. I think him arguing what they gave him isn't the way to go. I think
Yeah.
the way it played out, I can fully see his frustration on that side of it.
I know it was like, oh, it was a quick thing. We're back again to the 3-week build that he had an issue with, and he's not wrong. It's like I get the issue with it, but in the same vein, they could have done nothing. At least they gave you a send off. You got a goodbye. You got to have your wife, your kids, your family, all of it. You got to have that when most others got nothing. So it's like, are you
And they did the
ungrateful,
really cool thing
or
with
is it just
all the entourage behind him as he walked out from the back like he used to do with the
Yeah,
security
I mean,
guards and all
they
that kind of
had
thing,
his son walk out with him. They had Ernest the Cat
which was cool.
Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, he had everybody out there with him, and I don't know. It feels like beggars can't be choosers kind of thing, in a way, sadly, because he really did. He got a great send off that many people don't ever get to come anywhere near, and that's the truth, really. I feel like
I think the fact that they gave him a fitting send off and he couldn't really ask for any more. They definitely could have given him less. It makes the fumble, like the technical fumble, whatever you want to call it, more frustrating. Not
yeah,
WWE's fault, but that little what they wanted to give him was fine and it was adequate. The fact that it fell apart is less than ideal. And like that's what I'm saying. If he's saying he deserved more, I'm gonna say maybe not. But
yeah,
what they did decide to do
worked
fell
well.
apart well, it worked well. The match was great. Fell apart at the finish line.
Yeah,
And on that side of it, I can see him being frustrated. And on that side of it, I can see, and on that side of it, I could see
yes
him
and no.
saying maybe, yeah. On that side of it, I could see him saying, "Why did we do it here?" Only because go back to my idea of the Raw special, we wouldn't have
Yeah.
had the fumble at the end, and it would have been perfect.
Oh, absolutely. I see his point there, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
He's still got
that's the
his
only point I'm giving
retirement.
him.
Yeah, he's got his
That's the only point I'm
retirement.
giving him. If he went out and said, "Hey, I expected to main event SummerSlam," I'd be like, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, and that's kind of the attitude he was giving. And
Yeah.
I understand that he expected maybe a little bit more of a build of his career, but there's so many people that don't even get these matches, that don't get any of this, and he got it. So, like I said, again, it feels very heavy-handed in a way, and a bit undeserved. Goldberg was a hell of a fierce competitor, yeah, and this is the longest match he's had since 2003 because his matches, never went long, really. That wasn't what he was utilized for. But there
People
are a
see
lot of
the thing
things
about
and
that though
changes.
is people accuse him like the stick that they like to beat him with, the people that don't necessarily like Gold. And I'm not a huge Goldberg guy either, right?
Yeah, but
But the thing is the stick that they will beat him with, and it's a lazy argument. Oh, you can't even drag him to a long match. That's not what he was there for.
No, it's not what he needed to be used as.
You know, Mick Foley could never do a shooting star press. Like, what are we doing here? Is this anything? Is this something?
I agree with you. My takeaway from All In was so much for selling. You know, immediately that Wednesday they had to do the stuff with the Death Riders already, and it's like, is this necessary? Do you really need to do this over again? Besides that, I really don't have much of a takeaway from All In. Great American Bash.
My takeaways from All In, I think I said them to you when we did your live stream.
Yeah.
3 takeaways that I have from All In. Number 1, I hope Adam Cole's okay.
Yes.
B, kudos to AEW for not giving Mercedes Moné absolutely everything.
I think they kind of screwed themselves into a corner there. They were like, "Uh-oh, we have to
like not do something."
Yeah.
But now
because it was such a hot topic all week.
The next 5 things that they give her, they're going to be like, "Oh, remember that one time she lost a match?" But beggars can't be choosers in the Mercedes Moné situation. And they got up off their ass and gave a big, large platform and a large win to Athena, which they haven't done in forever.
And apparently that's going to be a cash in. That's what that thing is now. It's going to be a like a Money in the Bank.
So Athena got a win. Mercedes ate a loss. Adam Cole, horrible news about him, and they gave the belt to Goldust, which I get it, but I don't agree. The main event was a shit show.
Hey, we're in Texas. We don't have anybody else to give it to. Let's finish the story that was never started or written.
You had 3 other guys in that match you could have given it to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I know you and I beat that to death.
The guy's carrying around 2 ROH belts right now.
Exactly.
Like, do we need to put the least recognized AEW belt on him as well?
Apparently,
you could have done something with Fletcher. You could have finally done something proper with Garcia. You could have done something with Sammy Guevara, and just don't tell Mercedes about it. It's fine. And the main event.
Just don't tell her. She'll figure it out later.
The main event was AEW's dollar store ripoff of Cody finishes the story.
The second story being finished of the night. You know, they had to have Dustin finish the story first because that's his brother.
Oh my God. Hangman can fuck off, man.
I will say Great American Bash felt like kind of a moot point of being had just because of, again, the card itself wasn't super strong. And some of the matches like Soul and Izzy left a good deal to be desired. It wasn't a terrible cluster, but it wasn't great either. So
see, here's the thing. It wasn't fantastic, and this is me, like, you know, we've had the conversation before. NXT is kind of my thing. I hold NXT to a standard. It wasn't a particularly great show. Everything on the women's side was to set up for Evolution the next night, which was fine. It was functional. That's about it. I don't remember anything else from it. Rollins fucked himself up, unfortunately, at Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, and that's a legitimate injury. I'm tired of hearing people say like, "Oh no, he's just doing it for." It's like, no, they would not have changed. This is not a gotcha type moment. There's too many things that are affected. They're really trying to put over the fact of he got hurt. He wants everybody to think he's hurt so he can cash in at SummerSlam. I don't think they would do that extent to get rid of all this stuff.
Here's the thing, right? Because I'm a Rollins fan, and I really don't want him to be injured again, because we've seen how many times he's gone through it with his knees and whatnot. I would love it if it's a work. Except for one thing.
What's that?
There's no way that they can make it make sense, because LA Knight stepping away, hitting a quick win, and leaving with pretty much no ceremony would almost feel like, okay, it's a work and he's in on it, which doesn't make any sense.
No,
that part wouldn't make any sense. I would love it if it's a work, because like real life had on for a second. I hope Rollins isn't injured, but he is.
Yeah, I mean, if they tried to pull the wool over our eyes and be like, "Oh my God, he's working with Seth all along," that would be ridiculous. You know, it doesn't fit. There's a lot of issues with what they're trying to put forth, and a lot of it just isn't working.
Kayfabe, it wouldn't work at all. If it turns out to be a work, the only thing that will make me happy about that is, hey, this wrestler that I like that busts his ass to entertain me all the time isn't actually hurt.
Exactly.
That would be one of those. It would be one of those for me where the real life part of it takes over.
Yeah. Because I don't want to see him hurt, but it definitely seems like a legitimate injury. That's what happened. It was very unfortunate.
If it's a work, you would want the story to be better.
Well, one of the things I said too, there's no way it's not a work, because they wouldn't have handled it any such way like this with him being injured and the way it was done. And there's just so many angles to it. They had so many plans with him. It would not have worked out that way. They wouldn't have had it be faked in this regard.
You know who did work us?
Who?
I'm going to get the names mixed up again. Slammiversary. I was legitimately fooled, and I have no problem admitting that, when they were actually helping Trick up the ramp. And all the wrestlers were like, not just, oh my God, like making shocked face, like actually wrestling around him.
Yeah,
they had me.
I got taken in for that too. There was a couple of near falls they got with me too on Slammiversary that were really good. So they were on top of their game, certainly.
Yeah, it was a great show overall. Enzo and the Fourth Rope guys that I'm not super familiar with was fun. A lot of the results didn't exactly go the way I wanted to. The attendance was fantastic.
Great. I saw a guy crying online being given a bunch of shit by the wrestling community because he was so excited that Enzo was back. He was in tears. And I'm like, that's something he enjoyed. I got a big kick out of it too.
I'm sorry, but it is again another one of those, like the Rollins thing. Like I hope it's a work, rah. It is one of those things, and I said it in the pod before, and I said it because you weren't able to join me for the TNA preview, but I said it in my preview pod. Like, I'm glad the guy's on TV. You know why? Because he got fucked.
Exactly.
Like, cancel culture is a thing. Just ask Stephen Colbert. It's fine. They don't like it when it happens on their side, do they?
No.
But that was fun, and it wasn't anything that overstayed its welcome. It was on the kickoff. He did his opening shtick, and everybody's still in on it. Like, it's almost like the guy's over or something. I don't know the other two, but I know a little bit now.
Too is cool. You know, eventually we'll have another Bloodline member, maybe. But
I will say it didn't make a lick of sense that Steve Macklin and what's his name, Vance and Jake something were all of a sudden all on the same page, but it's a kickoff match. Like,
it was just to get the audience jazzed up and going, you know, and they did what they could there to make it worthwhile.
We'll have to have a conversation about where everybody's belts are when we've got more time to do it. But just in general, Masha Slamovich versus JC Jane kicked ass.
Yes, that was great.
Tessa versus Indy, which I didn't have too much for going in, like, other than I like both of them. I'm sure it'll be a good match. They kicked the shit out of each other.
Yeah. I mean, they beat the hell out of each other.
And I'm sorry, Evolution, going back one weekend, was the best pay-per-view that weekend.
Evolution was indeed the best show. They just killed it. It was a ton of fun to watch. It was enjoyable.
Before the ending,
it was good. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Before the ending, the match that Rhea and Io were having is top 5 for 2025, at least.
Oh, yeah.
And same as who called the opener? I'm just saying who called the opener. Bailey, Becky, Lyra was the opener. Anyway.
Not only did you get that, but you got JC as well. So
I got JC as well for all the reasons implied, except for my reasons ended up not being true at Slammiversary, but we don't need to talk about that. It's fine. We called Stephanie in the Battle Royal. I mean, Judgment Day retained. That was pretty good. Judgment Day going up against Alexa and Charlotte at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
You know what it is? We've had Slammiversary. We've had Slammiversary. We've got SummerSlam coming up, and I've got Summer Heat, the Destiny show. Check it out for Spaz Phoenix bucket list. It's fine.
Exactly.
Coming
During
up as well,
Heat Wave.
and they're all really similar. And then we've got Heat Wave, NXT Heat Wave coming up as well. But and there's a Heat Wave up here, and I got really, really sunburned on the weekend, so my brain is fried. So there we go. No, but the opener and the closer have got to be right up there for matches of the year for me. Rhea and Stephanie has to be the match in Paris. Like, I don't want to flash I don't want to flash forward to like what I think is going to happen at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but
here's the only thing.
Being, going from there to Australia and
yeah. Here's my thing. I could have a big blow my top moment about Naomi ruining the main event with the cash in and blah 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 blah. It didn't make any sense. We will have that conversation at another time. Here's my bigger problem, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it interrupted this great match between Rhea and Io. They have buried Jade Cargill twice in victory.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense. Here's my thing, because they fought at WrestleMania. Jade got the win. I was super happy. Didn't matter because Naomi went off immediately and won. They have their rematch here. It's fine. Jade Cargill plants her through the table and whatever. She gets the win. She's finally got that monkey off her back. It doesn't matter. The same night.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, Jade's getting all these wins and they're burying Naomi. It's like, no, they're burying Jade in victory.
Exactly.
And that shouldn't be a thing.
No, it shouldn't be, but that's kind of where we're
be a thing.
Kind of what we're leaning into.
Low key, we're getting a big cache of like powerhouse wrestlers in the WWE women's division. Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, Lash Legend, Raquel Rodriguez, Jade Cargill. I want to see Masha Slamovich cross over with some more people, which I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff happening. And it's not even oh my God, I don't like that Naomi has a title. I mean, I don't like that Naomi has a title, but that's besides the point. But the audience, and I'm thinking about this more and more. Why did they make that Battle Royal for a shot in Paris instead of a shot at SummerSlam? Because SummerSlam's the next WrestleMania and all that kind of thing. We're going to do those comparisons in another podcast.
Yes, as we build into them the week after, but...
Think about the audience in Paris, right? They're a crowd that reacts. They're a crowd that loves star power, right?
Yes.
Put, as much as I would love to see it at SummerSlam, put Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vacour in front of that Paris crowd.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to kill. It is going to kill. And I want to end this on positivity. So I will say that's a match I want to see because it's going to kick fucking ass. The ladies are kicking ass. I love the fact that, as we said at the beginning, more and more people are having these mental health conversations. Please leave Stephanie Vacour alone. Her finisher is awesome.
Yes.
There's way too many pay-per-views.
I get what you're saying by it being anticlimactic, but I still think it works. So
it's like doing the people's elbow and then doing the rock bottom.
Yes. I get that.
It's kind of what it's like. Anyways, I know you got to get out of here. I'm trying to watch the clock and be a good co-host here. So tell them where to find you, buddy. You're on Spotify now.
That's right. You can search Into Somewhere on Spotify. You can also go ahead and find myself over on YouTube at Jake Countdown Ended DeMarco. And you can also find me on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Rumble, all at Countdown Ended.
And you guys know where to find me or you wouldn't be here. We haven't done this in like 2 weeks, but I've been Spaz. He's been Jake. This has been The State of Wrestling. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me and Super Sexy Jake DeMarco are tagging out. Bye.
Stay sexy.